What's going on, baseball fans? Jeremy Laracuente here for the Baseball Banter Broadcast, and we continue our series looking at the X factors across the American League. Today's division is that of the American League West, but before we get into it, if you haven't already done so, smash that subscribe button as we continue growing this community. And by your subscription, you help us continue to do that. Let all of your baseball friends know that this is the channel to watch in 2022 for full Major League coverage. Let's get into it. Now, as we look at the team with the longest postseason drought in all of the four North American Major League sports, this Seattle Mariners roster is faced with a lot of change and a lot of unknown names. To me, the biggest X factor for their 2022 season is actually their rookie star, Julio Rodriguez. I think that Rodriguez is going to be the most important factor for the Seattle Mariners in 2022. I think calling him up early and giving him the entire season to mature and grow is going to be what helps the Mariners try to get back to the postseason. There's other players in this lineup that have a little bit more Major League tenure, but to me, the young, dynamic star that is Julio Rodriguez is arguably one of the early favorites for the American League Rookie of the Year award, and this to me is going to be what draws a lot of attention to the Mariners. So his success is going to be the Mariners' success as well. Now, as we look at the Texas Rangers, their newly acquired $325 million 10-year shortstop in Cory Seeker is going to be the X factor. To me, how Seeger goes is how this Rangers roster will go. There's going to be a new tandem up the middle for the Rangers and Cory Seeker and Marcus Semien, and to me that dynamic is really what's going to either prove the test of time for the Texas Rangers or falter and sink it. I think that Cory Seeker is going to have a very good year and be able to make the Texas Rangers his team. I think that going into the 2022 campaign, coming off of the tenure that he had with the Dodgers, this is going to be a player that is going to be looked at as the new franchise star and the face of this team. I also think that he has the ability to carry this team on his back. Going in with this newer ballpark that not many people are really going to know how it plays, Cory Seeker can make it his own. Looking at the incredible year that he had in 2021 with an OPS plus of 145 across only 95 games, this is a player that absolutely will be able to help the Rangers in 2022. Now, health is going to be the biggest paramount for Cory Seeker. Over the last two seasons combined, Cory Seeker has only played 148 games. But I think going into 2022, this will be a healthy player who has the ability to go ahead and play almost every single day for the Texas Rangers. And that to me is what's going to give him the biggest push and give the Rangers the biggest push, therefore making him the X factor. Now, as we look at the Oakland A's, there's a lot to question and a lot to wonder about, but the one thing you cannot wonder about is their X factor, and that is Matt Olsen. The one question with Matt Olsen in the Oakland A's is whether or not he's going to remain in Oakland A. Despite that fact, whether he remains with the team or he gets traded away, to me he is going to be the biggest important factor for the A's in 2022. This is a Gold Glove caliber first baseman who's capable of hitting you 40 plus home runs. I also think that because of his unique ability on both sides of the ball, that makes him extremely valuable. Add in the fact that he won't be a free agent until 2024, and that makes him even more of an important piece for the Oakland A's. If they decide to start rebuilding, this is the player that they have to trade away to get the most back for. I also think that if they decide to try to reposition themselves and pivot to actually play towards the postseason in 2022, this is going to be the most important and middle of the order bat. The heart of this lineup will run through Matt Olsen. Through 156 games in the 2021 campaign, Olsen would have a slash line of 271, 371, and 540. There's no doubt about it, this was an incredible monster year for Matt Olsen. 39 home runs, 111 RBIs, and an OPS plus of 153 is just the tip of the iceberg, in my opinion, for what this player is capable of. So again, if he's traded, this is going to be the most important player and garner the most back for the Oakland A's. If he's not traded, this is the franchise star that you build this team around, therefore making him the X factor. Now, as we look at the Houston Astros, their X factor to me is none other than Justin Verlander. Yes, there's a lot of potential with Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve, but to me, for Houston to be successful and find themselves back atop of the American League West Division, it's going to come down to pitching. They've already lost Garrett Cole. Zach Greinke is a free agent. Justin Verlander is coming back off of an injury. How he pitches and how he fares as the ace of this staff is really going to determine the success or failure of the Houston Astros in 2022. I think that you have an opportunity with Verlander coming back to kind of ease him back into the swing of things. But Verlander himself is a very competitive player, and because of his competitive nature, this is going to be a guy who's going to go after it full bore in 2022. How he fares is how the Houston Astros are going to fare in 2022. If he is capable of holding down the fort the way we would see him over the last couple of seasons, this is absolutely going to be a player that is capable of carrying this team to the postseason. But if his success since joining the Houston Astros was due to spider tack, the 38-year-old Justin Verlander may find himself quickly faltering, and therefore the Astros will as well. So however goes the right arm of Justin Verlander, go the Houston Astros in 2022. Now, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim have one player that is their X factor, and to me, it's Mike Trout. And the reason why it's Mike Trout over Shohei Ohtani, who is capable of playing on both sides of the ball, is Mike Trout's health. Over the last several seasons, Trout has been very injury prone and missing a lot of time. Trout would play just 36 games out of a 162 game season in 2021. And although his numbers look absolutely immaculate, Mike Trout-esque numbers in those 36 games, it was only 36 games. Now, we've also seen Trout miss time even prior to that, having not played more than 140 games since 2016. This is the best player in all of baseball, arguably the best player in all of baseball history. How his health goes is how the Angels go. Even when Mike Trout was carrying this team on his back, there was never enough support behind him in that lineup. And I think going into the 2022 campaign, there's going to be more of the same. I think that with the breakout of Shohei Ohtani, with having Anthony Rendon, a healthy Anthony Rendon, paired in the lineup with Mike Trout, this is going to be an opportunity, and probably the best opportunity, to get Mike Trout back to the postseason. I also think that with the new CBA coming into play, there's going to be more teams and more opportunity to get the best player in baseball on the national stage of the postseason. But the biggest factor for that is going to be Mike Trout being healthy enough to actually play in the games. This, to me, is why Mike Trout is so important to the Angels, because if he's injured again and unable to play the majority of the games, the Angels are not going to find themselves even remotely close to that postseason mark that they would with Mike Trout playing. But I want to hear from you guys. Let me know your feelings on this down in the comment section below. What are the teams in the American League West that have the best shot with these particular X factors? Are there other players on these teams that you felt should have been the actual important X factor for these teams? Let me know that down in the comment section below, and we'll discuss it further. As always, keep it locked into the entire GLMG family with the Granted Geek Show, Weesibs, and of course here on the Baseball Banter Broadcast. For sticking around all the way to this point in the video, head over to baseballbanterbroadcast.com and use the promo code BANTER to get 5% off of your order. Thank you for tuning into the Baseball Banter Broadcast as I continue to bring you the latest news, notes, and my personal thoughts, theories, and opinions on the game of Major League Baseball. Let's play ball.